We've all heard people say that super shoes like the Nike Vaporfly Next % are only good for about 100 to 200 miles. Is it just marketing hype to get you to buy more shoes, or is that actually true? I decided to put this shoe to the test and find out. Here's what happened after 600 miles in the Nike Vaporfly Next %. So how do you decide if a shoe is actually dead and you need to throw it away? For me, in this experiment, I was listening for one major cue from my body, which was the signs after my run, such as extra soreness in my feet, maybe a little bit more time to recover from my workout and feel like my feet were really fresh, and also, of course, listening for any pain elsewhere in the body. If you're wearing a pair of shoes and your knees start to hurt after you run in them, your ankles start to hurt, something like that, that's probably a sign that those shoes are ready to be retired. Things that are not good signs for if a shoe is dead and ready to be retired are things like how good the shoe looks, how much money you paid for the shoe, how many miles your friends say they can run in a shoe before it feels dead. None of those things are important. You need to be listening just to your own body and how your body feels after running in a shoe in order to really determine its durability for you, because it's always going to be different than that shoe's durability for somebody else. So for this experiment, I started to hit that point where after I ran in these shoes, my feet were more tired than usual. They were taking longer to feel fully recovered, right around 600 miles. So I pulled them through to 600. I ran an extra like 3 workouts in them just to get them to that 600 mark. But that was where I decided that these shoes actually need to be retired. Now, there certainly are a lot of factors in how you use a shoe and what kind of runner you are that are going to impact that shoe's durability. So let's talk a little bit about all the tests I did in this shoe to get it to that 600 miles. Alright, and now, confession time. I have been running pretty much exclusively in this pair of Nike Vaporfly Next % since about mid-January. The only things I ran that were not in this shoe were about 60 miles in the Next % 2s for my review of that, and a few workouts in the Nike Invincibles for my review of that. So other than that, I've been running everything, easy days, speed work, long runs, what have you, all in this shoe. The only rest that this shoe got was about 24 hours in between workouts. I did not wear it during like the day just walking around, so it did get about 24 hours in between workouts to decompress, but that is about it. I was wearing it pretty much every single day for every single workout. And I know that that is not really what this shoe is designed for. It's not designed as a daily trainer for people to go out and use every single day for whatever. But for me, honestly, it worked really well. I wasn't really expecting to be able to run everything for a whole like 3 months in this shoe. But I found it to be super comfortable. It was really well cushioned, which was awesome for my easy days when my feet were tired and for long runs when my feet and my legs get tired and all that stuff. And of course, it's a fast shoe, so it's great for speed work and all of that stuff. I also really appreciated that its upper is super lightweight because I tend to have really hot feet. So honestly, this was just kind of like the holy grail of shoes for me, and I had 0 problems whatsoever running every single workout in this shoe for a whole 600 miles. I gotta tell you, I know that's not what it's designed for, but I seriously enjoyed every minute of it. I am by no means recommending that everyone who owns this shoe go out and run exclusively in this shoe and run 600 miles in a single pair of these shoes. I am a particular kind of runner that this shoe really worked for. Number one, I'm 115 pounds, so I'm pretty light. I'm not compressing this shoe as much as bigger runners do. And number two, I also tend to have what I think of as pretty good running form. I am naturally a forefoot/midfoot striker, and I tend to be pretty light on my feet. I don't really smack the ground really hard with every step. So this shoe worked for me to do that. I did not get injured in any way doing that, but I'm not recommending that everyone go out and do that. All I am saying is don't throw away a pair of these shoes just because the marketing hype is leading you to believe that they're only good for 100 miles. or your friends are leading you to believe that they're only good for 100 miles. Like, actually listen to your body, listen to the signals from your feet, and decide for yourself when you feel like these shoes need to be retired. Alright, so now let's get into the individual components of this shoe and how they held up for me over the 600 miles that I ran in them. I'll show some closer up shots of the shoes as I'm talking about the individual pieces, so you guys can see a little bit more clearly what they all look like at the end of the 600 miles. So let's talk about the upper first. I have seen people have problems with this upper, so obviously if it falls apart on you, then time to retire the shoes, but for me, stuck on like glue, I can still tug all around the outside of this shoe. Nothing coming undone, it all still feels really secure, so this was not going to break anytime soon. For me, it was definitely the midsole that caused the shoe to fail. The eyelet chain is holding up perfectly fine, the toe box, again, holding up perfectly fine, no issues there. There's a little bit of like stitching coming undone at the back here, but there's so much stitching that it's not actually causing anything to fall apart. Like, if that happens, I would suggest that you just keep running in it because it really didn't cause any problems at all. Secondly, going on to the midsole, you can definitely see, I'll show the closer up images, some pretty significant creases in that ZoomX foam, which is totally expected as you're running a big distance in these shoes. That ZoomX foam just tends to crease more than other midsole foams do. But it really doesn't mean that the shoe is dead. Like, just if it looks creased, that's not necessarily an indication that the shoe is dead. You actually really need to, in my opinion, run in the shoe and feel if the foam is too compressed, because ZoomX just looks creasy even when it, like, honestly, these creases started to appear like 50 miles in. Like, you could see creases in this shoe. Yeah, they got deeper, but I'm just saying don't necessarily use that as a benchmark for when these shoes are dead, because ZoomX just creases. And then lastly, looking at the outsole, you can definitely see up in like the black part of the outsole rubber where there's been some like stones and little things picked up by the rubber that I have removed, which I have done as I've run in this shoe. If I got a big stone or a little stone just embedded in that rubber, I would pull it out before it could like really dig deep in there. So you can see where some of those have happened and some of the little tinier pebbles I just left in there because they weren't causing any problems. And then if we look down a little further onto the heel of the outsole, we can see that there's some wear in those back two pieces of rubber that are kind of starting to lose their grip. And we can also see, which is another big factor, the exposed midsole foam has worn down significantly. It also just kind of generally is dirty. I did not clean these shoes in a detailed fashion before making this video because I wanted to just show like what they actually looked like at the end of the 600 miles. I don't want to clean them up and make them look nicer than they really did. So you can see that getting kind of dirty and worn down there, but it really doesn't impact the performance of the shoe, in my opinion. So backtracking to the midsole one more time, that was really where the shoe failed for me. It just started to get a little bit too saggy and not bouncy like it used to. I could definitely tell a drop off in the bounciness of this shoe around like 300 miles. It wasn't as bouncy as it was when I first bought it, and I could definitely tell that. But that being said, it's still bouncy compared to a lot of other shoes on the market. So like this shoe after 300 miles was still a really high performing shoe. Like, yeah, it wasn't as good as new, but it was still a great shoe and I would totally still want to run in it for longer, is all I'm saying. Alright, well there you have it, my thoughts on the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent after 600 miles. Question for you guys, if you've had a pair of the Next Percents fail on you, when did they fail? How many miles did you get them to? And what was the failure that made you feel like you had to throw them away? I'm just curious if anyone else has had these shoes and really tested the durability on them. Please let me know down in the comments if you have. I'd be really interested to hear about your experiences. And if you have any other questions for me about the shoes that I tested to 600 miles, let me know down in the comments as well. I'll try to answer those as best as I can too. And lastly, I do apologize, guys. I had planned when I started this channel to upload videos weekly. but my training load has really been picking up, running 80 plus miles a week, and I just haven't had as much time as I had hoped to spend and input into this running channel. So I will still be uploading videos, but I just can't have a super set schedule for my channel right now. So if you would like to see videos when they do come up, go ahead and hit that notification bell thing and subscribe to this channel so you'll get notified when I do post my next video. All right, until next time, guys. Bye.